it on Global Abundance Organization, GAOtv. I am Zafar, your host, and Monica Tanner is the one with the entire new world, at least to me or the people like myself. She is an expert on relationship, and almost 8 billion people are going through this. I mean, all those who are the adult out of 8 billion people, and the broken marriages are almost a norm now. And she's the one, a savior, a person who can save your marriages. And I like everybody to please take your this hand what do you call, hand free on, just because there will be some terminologies that she'll be using the word sex as a general, just because she's expert in that. And that's where we are losing lots of our relationships, and couples are uh, going in like the marriages are going devastated. And here she is to help. Hello, Monica, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you doing?
I'm glad. I'm again. I want to say sorry for being a little late online in front of everybody, just because I just ruined a few of your time. Again, but going back to Monica, please introduce yourself. What do you do?
Yeah, my name is Monica Tanner, and I work with couples to create more intimacy and connection in their marriage. I'm on a mission to lower the divorce rate and raise marital satisfaction because it's not enough to just stay married. Building a marriage is different.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, what a mission you're on. The whole of our family system is almost broken, and we are going through hell in as long as family is concerned. How about, I mean, earlier, how the earlier couples in like about half a century earlier, the families were very stronger. What's going wrong with us now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the divorce rate has always been high, but I think we expect more from modern marriage than we ever have in the past. We want to be married to our best friend, our soulmate, our lover, someone who challenges us, somebody who will be there through the hard times. And I just think we expect more from marriage. We want our spouses to be our teammate, to talk to us, to create adventures with us, and all the things. And so, in order to create an intimate friendship and a passionate partnership, it requires a higher skill set. And so, if you want to be good at anything, you've got to learn the skills and practice them. And that's what modern marriage requires. Oh, you're muted.
Okay, how do we define intimacy? And I mean, what are the misconceptions, and what is the right definition about the intimacy, and what to expect from our spouse and what not to?
Yeah. I mean, intimacy just requires a level of vulnerability. We want to be seen. We want our spouse to know us intimately, meaning into me see is how I like to think about intimacy. So, we want to be able to be completely ourselves, to make mistakes and to grow and to become the best versions of ourselves. And we want to share that with a significant other, and that requires a lot of communication, that requires compassion and understanding more than it requires being right or, knowing a lot of things. So, we can be extremely successful out in the workplace, but make a mess of our personal lives because it requires a different skill set. It requires humility and vulnerability and compassion and curiosity and understanding, and those just aren't things that we're taught in our families growing up or even in school. It's something that we have to go out of our way to make an effort to learn how to do.
Okay, what are the secrets of happiness ever after?
Mhm. I think it's being willing to learn how to be a good partner, learning how to listen, learning how to show compassionate curiosity for our partner's subjective reality. I think it's being willing to, admit when you're wrong, being willing to take correction, being willing to apologize when it doesn't go well, and that's not easy for many of us to do.
Okay, and you're on the mission to redefine or rewrite the modern marriages. What's that?
What's the mission?
Yeah, you want to, yeah, redefine the modern marriages so that they long last. I mean, could you just put some light on it?
Yeah, I think that the secret to living happily ever after is to create an intimate friendship and a passionate partnership. And in order to do that, we have to learn compassionate curiosity. We have to put a moment in between a trigger and our response to it. We have to recognize that marriage is not easy, that in order to really create trust and safety, we're going to have to heal our childhood wounds. We're going to have to learn new ways of interacting with each other. And we're going to have to be humble about it.
And which personal experiences in your own marriage most shape the way you coach couples today?
Mhm. Yeah, so I like to not think of myself as an expert. I am an expert on my own experience in marriage, but there's no one right way to do it. And so I think one place that we fall short a lot of times is we don't know how to stand up for what we want in the marriage. We don't know how to teach our partners how to treat us. We don't know how to listen for the purpose of understanding. So these and repair after conflict. So these are all important skills that I have learned in my own marriage. I know how I want to be treated, and so I can ask my partner to do certain things that work for me, and I can teach others how to ask for the things that they want in their marriage. But I think it's really easy to fall into the trap that this fairy tale thinking of if they loved me, they would just know what to do. They would know how to make me happy. They would know what I want. And especially getting close to Valentine's right now, I think a lot of people just wait and hope that their partner is going to know what to do that will make them feel special or loved. When what love actually requires is for us to speak up about what we want to feel, how we want to feel, what that would look like, and co-create experiences in our lives that work for both of us. So that experience of collaboration, I think, is missing in a lot of marriages.
Wow, the co-creating an experience and just finding the new ways to make intimacy. That's fantastic. As an LRT certified relationship and intimacy coach, what feels most different about your approach compared to traditional marriage counseling?
Yeah, great question. I think that the downfall of traditional marriage therapy is a lot of hand-holding and validating. And I think what I love so much about relational life therapy is that we really do our best to care. We call it carefrontation. So we help you see what you are not seeing, your impact on your spouse. And we help you learn skills to be able to not only regulate your own emotions, but also, again, ask for the things that you want in the marriage, fight for what's important to you, listen for understanding, and repair after conflict. So these are all huge, huge. Skill sets that are required to create an intimate marriage that most of us were never taught. And so, relational life therapy, um, we what we do is we identify the pattern or the dynamic in the marriage. We help the partners see their impact on one another. We help them heal from trauma that might keep them stuck, and then we help them learn skills to be able to really create what they want in their marriage.
Oh, great. And what are the most common toxic myths about marriage that keep ambitious couples stuck?
Oh, yeah, there's so many. One that I really love to talk about is this idea of compromise. I think it's said very often that in order to have a great marriage, you have to learn to compromise. And when I think of compromise, I think of giving up things in order to meet in the middle. And it creates a lot of scorekeeping and resentment. And the better way to commute to the better way is to collaborate through communication. So get curious about yourself, get curious about your partner, uh, find out what each of you values and thinks is most important, and then you come up with a solution that's better than either of you could have come up with on your own. So the need to compromise is a big myth. Don't sweat the small stuff. Drives me crazy because where do you think the big stuff comes from? If we learn to skillfully address the things while they're small, then they never become big. I think happy wife, happy life is a terrible thing to say. There's so many. Don't go to bed angry is also a huge stumbling block for many couples, including my husband and I. I lost a lot of sleep early in our marriage over this idea that we couldn't ever go to bed angry.
Okay. Okay. How does the resentment typically build up slowly in a marriage? And what are the early warning signs couples should watch out for?
Yeah, well, resentment, I think, is a great indicator that you're not speaking up about something. So, resentment slowly builds whenever there's not enough communication, when something's bothering you and you're not speaking up about it. You're not showing up fully in the marriage. You're not fighting for what's important to you. You're just kind of stuffing it or trying to not sweat it, or sweep it under the rug in order to keep the peace. So, resentment will kill intimacy because it's really hard to be intimate, loving, and communicative with somebody that you are resenting, that somebody that you feel like is not treating you the way you want to be treated or giving you what you want. But most often, this is because you're not actually asking for it.
That's cool. For a couple who only talk about logistics, kids, schedules, and bills, how can they start rebuilding emotional connections again?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, that's a very common occurrence, I think, in a lot of couples as they get really bogged down in just the logistics of life. And part of the reason why is because when they start to talk about issues, bigger issues, it doesn't often go well because they don't have the tools to be able to communicate. So often what happens is someone will bring up something like money or sex or, a time when their partner hurt their feelings, something that they disagree about, and that conversation doesn't end well. Like you end up in a fight, or you end up giving the silent treatment, or and so a lot of couples that you see, you'll see a couple at a restaurant and they're not talking to each other. And it's not because they ran out of things to talk about. It's because there's a long list of things that they cannot talk about, or they'll end up in a fight. And so you get this very surface level, what do we need to do for the kids? What's for dinner? Who's driving? Those types of logistical conversations. And you never get anywhere deep because both partners are worried about, what's going to happen as soon as we disagree or touch on something that is more of a charged topic. And so learning these skills is so important. If you're going to have these more difficult, intimate conversations, you've got to learn how to do it well.
Uh, you talk about 20 minutes of international conversation each day. What
Mhm.
does a simple daily ritual look like that
Yeah.
any couple can start tonight?
Yes, you did your research. I talk about daily connections. I think is one of the most important practices that you can implement right now in your marriage, and it goes beyond how was your day. It's what did you learn today? What was interesting to you today? Who did you talk about, or who did you talk to that was super awesome today? Are you reading anything that's exciting? What are you looking forward to? What are you dreading? What is difficult for you? And uh, what can I do to make your life easier? These are all questions that you can go deep quickly with your partner to learn about their inner world, what's happening for them, what's going on inside of their brain. Even if you spend so much time with your partner, which most of us don't, they're experiencing the world very differently. So if you show that type of curiosity to your partner, you're never, ever, ever going to run out of things to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, Monica, as you said, I did bit of research on you. You say another thing that rather you recommend walking together as a powerful relationship habit. Why is side by side walking so effective for
Oh, I
difficult
love that.
conversations?
My husband and I do this daily connection while we're walking, and it's much easier to have kind of a deep, insightful conversation when you're walking in the same direction or driving if it's too cold or the weather isn't conducive to walking. I think getting your heart pumping, I think moving in the same direction, moving towards the same goal, I think is really helpful to be able to bring out these conversations. I think talking about sex, money, parenting, in laws, those types of things are way better when you're walking. So you're kind of touching on my 3% rule. So I'll just share it with you. If you will put 3% of your time into your marriage. So the time is the great equalizer, I always say. Nobody gets more or less time. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much you can bench press, how many influential, important friends you have. Nobody gets more or less time. You can't buy it, you can't earn it. We all get the same exact amount of time. And so, if you will spend, we've already talked about 20 minutes a day, we all have 1,440 minutes in a day, every single one of us. So, if you will spend 20 of those minutes really talking with your spouse, getting to know their inner world, their experience, the things they're thinking about, the things they're excited about, the things they're worried about, right? If you will spend 20 minutes a day talking to your spouse, um, and then 3 hours a week. So we all get 168 hours in a week. If you will spend three of those 168 hours on date night, doing something fun together, rekindling romance, uh, um, doing something you've never done before, or learning something new, or just doing something super fun that doesn't require a lot of, skill, right? Like if you go ice skating together, or kayaking, or walking, or biking, or do something together that doesn't have to do with the kids or the business or money. Just have fun together, create those memories. 3 hours a week is all that's required. And then if you'll take 3 days out of the 365 days of the year to go on a romantic getaway where you just are focused on each other, no phones, no distractions, just the two of you together, dreaming and enjoying each other, being really intimate with each other. Those three um, three times, so 20 minutes a day, 3 hours a week, 3 days a year, or a week of the year, I think is even better. If you will spend, that's just 3% of the time that you have, that will protect your marriage.
Wow, you may not reply what I'm asking. Would you like to share a few of yours? I mean, a couple of instances.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Would am I mute? Let me check. Would you like to share your experience?
My experience with doing that?
Yeah, like to like this 20 minutes. I mean, last time you did with your spouse.
Yeah, I mean, we spend 20 minutes a day walking. my husband and I, when he gets home from work or after we've kind of the kids are doing their homework or they don't really need us, we'll sneak out and just walk around the neighborhood. We have a loop, we call it. It's a mile loop, and it takes us about 20 minutes to go around once, or sometimes we'll spend an hour out there. We'll do 3 miles out there on the loop, and we talk about our days. We talk about what's coming up for him at work, and clients that I've been working with, or things that I'm seeing, and we'll talk about the kids. We'll talk about just what's coming up, those types of things. So 20 minutes at least every single day. And then date nights, super, super, super important. And they don't have to be expensive or extravagant or far from home. We love to walk. I mean, we walk during the week. We walk on date night. We love to go get a hamburger and then maybe go watch some kids play basketball or whatever. We're huge high school sports fans. So whatever sport is in season, we like to support the kids there. We like to grab a burger at our favorite fast food restaurant together. Every once in a while, we'll go out to a nice dinner, but that's not necessary. Sometimes if we have a lot of teenagers in our house, which is usually the case, we'll just lock ourselves in our bedroom and chat, watch a show, just snuggle. That's what we like to do on date night. Every once in a while, we'll go out with friends or we'll do something a little bit more extravagant, but for the most part, it's very, very simple. And then we take a vacation several times a year, but always at least a week in January. We spend some time away and we talk about the year past and what's coming up for us. We dream together. And my husband and I have decided that after all the kids leave the house, we want to travel. We want to spend a month at a time in different countries. I can work from anywhere. So, we just dream and make plans and act silly and enjoy each other's company. And that's how we kind of do that 3% plan.
Wow. And do you date your husband? But you keeping your kids home and you just go out for a drive or to a restaurant? And do you do it? I mean, does it help?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, when our kids were young, we were super creative with babysitters. I mean, we would use babysitters when we could afford it. When we couldn't afford it, we would trade with friends, or we would, see if family could help. So, from a very young age. And then when our kids were old enough to watch themselves, we did that. Now our kids are teenagers. They usually have plans of their own. So we've always done date night in some form of or another. And it's protected our marriage. It has. I mean, we've gone through some very difficult times where both of us have been really busy, really distracted, and it keeps us from that roommate syndrome that you mentioned. It makes sure that we're not just talking about kind of the surface level logistics of life, that we're still enjoying being together. And those are the memories that, when we're old, I'll remember, the fun times that we had, not necessarily because every date night is something amazing, but because I'll remember the times that we just talked and laughed and walked on the green belt and talked about the books we were reading and held hands and had dessert and our favorite crumble cookies and milkshakes and things that we both just really love. So yeah, I mean, I think it protects your marriage to always make date night a priority.
Okay, Monica, many of our viewers are mission driven leaders and professionals under
Mhm.
high pressure. What daily or weekly habits do you recommend so they can protect their marriages while still pursuing big goals?
Absolutely. I mean, I think mindset has a lot to do with it. I mean, yeah, I mean, my husband and I owned a business together for a lot of years, and it was easy to fall into the trap of always talking about our business and just remembering that at the end of the day and at the end of our life, nobody cares how successful we were, how much money we made. I always think of it of life, like climbing, like a hike, like climbing to the very top of a huge mountain, and you don't want to climb up there and stand there by yourself, right? And so I always think, like, what do we have to do to ensure that we get up to the top together, right? And that means putting some things in place, like daily connections, date nights, and yearly getaways that ensure that the two of us are ascending together. And sometimes one of us is hiking faster than the other, right? And so it requires you to stop, assess the situation, and go back and grab your partner if it's necessary. So I just think it's really, really important to remember the big picture. And at the end of your life, do you want to be laying in that hospital bed all by yourself, or do you want to be surrounded by the people that you love and the people that you sacrificed with and for? And so yeah, I mean, you could be super successful at business, but what does it matter if you're all by yourself at the end with piles of money? Who cares?
It really, I mean, who cares? Your platform, Secrets of Ever After, is all about creating lasting love story, not just a fairy tale beginning. In your view, what are the core secrets that happily married couples practice consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I think the core secret is I think the core secret is learning how to be friends, right? I mean, learning how to communicate, learning how to listen, learning how to understand your partner's experience, learning how to get curious about them, learning how to witness them, uh, support them, and just be a good friend. I mean, how do you create a strong, lasting friendship? You stick in when it gets hard. You learn how to do the things that you're not good at. You respect each other's differences. All of those things are required to create an intimate friendship and a passionate partnership.
Okay, Monica, how to handle this possessiveness? I mean, the spouses generally have.
Possessiveness?
Yeah, I mean, the couples are generally possessive for each other.
Yeah, I mean, sure, that happens. I think remembering that you can't own another person, that another person doesn't belong to you. They're not required to be with you. They always have a choice. And so I think working together to create a marriage that both people choose into is much more important than trying to force another person to stay with you against their will.
Okay. Again, among your LinkedIn articles on emotional connections, walking together and staying calm in family chaos, which idea has resonated most with your audience?
Great question. I mean, I think all of it. I think you resonate with whatever you're struggling with or lacking in the moment, right? So we're all different. We all have a different relational blueprint. We've all reached different stages of our development and growth. So I like to put out a lot of content, and use what you will, and discard what you don't need.
That's cool. I mean, okay. In your best-selling book, Bad Marriage Advice. I mean, why did you name it like Bad Marriage Advice? I did
Well,
it.
originally I wrote the book for my oldest son who was getting married, and I, wanted to give him a little bit of a foundation of what to expect in marriage. And I knew that lots of well-meaning individuals were going to give him advice. And I remember when my husband and I were getting married, we got lots of bad advice. And so it's not that the
Like,
people giving the advice don't love or want the best for you. I just think there's lots of bad advice that's been handed down through the generations, and it may have been good advice at some time, but it's not really good advice now.
okay, can I go local? I mean, what happened in this part of the world for the bad advice?
What happened in this part of the world?
Yeah, I mean, since I'm from Asia, Asia and in this subcontinent, this area, do you have any idea about Pakistan, India, and this part of the world?
I'm not like that knowledgeable about it, to be
Okay,
honest.
okay. What happens here with the bad marriage advice? Here, the both of the spouses are told from their loved ones to take the control. Even
Mm.
it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're a man or a wife, I mean, both are asked and guided from their loved ones to take control and take charge and be the boss. So they both men and men and wife are advising him, how do we handle this?
Yeah, I mean, if you're both fighting for control, I think it's understanding that I mean, the reality is the truth is that you can only control yourself. So you can try really hard to control your spouse or your children or your dog or your or the weather. I mean, and I think the fruits speak for themselves. Like how effective are you at controlling another person? I mean, it's not possible. We all have our agency. So, what we can control is ourselves. So, learning how to control ourselves in the face of whatever's happening, fighting against reality doesn't ever go well. So, when somebody is trying to control another person, you're actually fighting against what's actually true. So, I can throw my phone up in the air and I can, as much as I want it not to crash down, it's going to because you can't fight with gravity. Like what goes up must come down. It's just a law of gravity. And so, you not we have zero control over another person. That's just a law of relationships. It doesn't change. Whether you want to work with it or not is up to you. But regardless, we can't control other people. And so, trying to teach that is it seems like a fool's errand, I don't know.
Again, now the question about bad marriage advice, your best-selling book. Okay, in your best-selling book, Bad Marriage Advice, which popular advice or advice do you think are actually harmful and why?
Well, they're all harmful. And in the book, I mean, that's what the book is about, actually. It's 15 pieces of bad marriage advice, why it's bad marriage advice or why it's harmful, and then how to do it better. So I don't just tell you like this is bad advice. I actually say, here's how to do this better. And the through line of the book is all about communication. So the bad advice, you can tell whether something is good advice or bad advice on whether or not it creates more healthy communication or less communication. So if something that you're told, like don't sweat the small stuff, creates less communication, if you're not sweating the small stuff, you're not communicating, then that's bad advice. If you're told to not go to bed angry, well, that's less effective communication because trying to argue about something when you're exhausted is never going to go well. So that's bad marriage advice. Happy wife, happy life. That means husbands, you don't communicate what's important to you because your only concern is to keep your wife happy. Bad advice, right? So you can tell immediately if something's good advice or bad advice. If it challenges and creates better, healthier communication, that's probably good advice. If it creates lazy communication or doesn't cause you to, doesn't require any communication at all, it's bad advice.
Okay, in my part of the world where we live, generally there are arranged marriages, and
Mhm.
the man and wife may not be loving each other, and they stay for quite some time, or maybe a lot time without sharing their bed, or without intimacy or having intercourse with each other. So,
Mhm.
what do you advise for them?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen arranged marriages be very successful, meaning that if you learn how to communicate, I think that you can be in a in a marriage with somebody who is very different than you, who sees the world differently, has different experiences than you, and still be really happy if you learn how to speak up for yourself, ask for the things that you want, and you're both willing to work with each other. I think that you can still have a great marriage, whether you chose your partner or your parents did, or the matchmaker did, or whatever. I mean, I think all marriages require communication. So if you're willing to learn it, you can make a lot of situations work well.
And how about if you go for like after your breakup or like you got divorced and you go to the next I mean, how to restart? How about those who struggle with this, find very difficult, yeah, especially those who were in love with somebody and they are heartbroken? And what do you advise them?
I would say work on yourself. I mean, the problems that you had in your first marriage will more than likely pop up in your second marriage as well, just maybe in a different form. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to run away from your wounds. I think at some point you'll have to heal them, whether it's with spouse number one or spouse number eight.
But I mean, this for someone who was just in love with some with earlier wife, and now he's bound to get to another bound. It's marriage law. So I mean, and then someone who is low at self-esteem or somebody who is not loving oneself. I mean, it is. I mean, you cannot love anybody until and unless you love yourself. So, someone who is at low at esteem and he think or she thinks she is not worthy of love. For I mean, I'm talking about self-love and how to attain this and then how to take it to the next level. That means loving your spouse.
Yeah, I think that requires some work with a coach or a counselor or a therapist. Yeah, I mean, I think in order to have a healthy relationship, you have to have with somebody else. You have to have a healthy relationship with yourself. It's a requirement. So yeah, bite the
Okay.
bullet. Ask for some help. I
Okay.
do have to leave in just a couple of minutes, so I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. I've got I got last question and then I'll ask for the advice to the blue dot. The last question is, I mean, as we age, we yeah, I mean, we don't have that rouse or like I mean your body also ages, and the inner course I mean drive gets lower. How to handle this?
I think you always have to be renegotiating your sex life. I always recommend that couples have a designated day of the week, like Sex Talk Tuesday, where they go on a walk and they discuss their sex life. How are we doing? Is this, what's working, what's not working? What would be better? How can we work together to create a sex life that is rewarding for both of us? And I think that changes throughout your life. Like you said, you age, drive slows down. And as long as both partners have a say and, really can contribute to the conversation, I think you're going to be able to co create something great if you can communicate about it. But, it does take time and practice and some skill to be able to have those conversations. So I would say learn how to do it and continue to do it over and over and over again.
So it's a long term goal. I mean, okay, cool. How about okay? Since I mean you're low on time, you've stuck your limit also. Okay, the advice to the blue dot
The advice to the what?
to my audience to
Oh,
this
yes.
minute blue dot or
Yeah, I mean, my advice is to continue to learn and to grow and I mean, learning to be relational is like learning any other skill, a sport, an instrument, what have you. You're going to be bad at it before you're good at it. But if you decide that it's important and you learn how to do it and you practice it, you're going to give yourself the best possible gift you could ever give yourself, your children, your posterity. So I would say the most important thing you could ever do in this life is learn the skills of relationality.
All right. Okay. Now the last thing is how to reach you. I mean, the people who are they're struggling with their relationship. You're a coach, and how are you available? Would you like to share any of the link or number or anything professionally
You can
to
find
reach?
you can find all of my free resources, my podcast, my downloads, my book, at and how to as well as how to work with me at my website, monicatanner.com.
Okay, cool. Then I'll surely share these resources in my description also. This was Monica Tanner with us. I mean, she's abundantly available, and she's got abundance of intimacy and advice. I mean, she can save your relationship if you're struggling with. So, thank you so much for being abundant and being on the show. Thank you so much. See you
Thank you
again.
so much for having me. It was wonderful.